What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, stimulus check update, and daily news. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on new videos that come out here every day on our YouTube channel at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribing is completely free to do so, so if you haven't done so, make sure to subscribe right now. We got a lot to talk about here today. New stimulus checks have been passed. We're going to go over who they're for and how much they're for. And Russian President Putin says that if World War III happens, he will use nukes. That's right. We got a lot to cover here today in this video, so let's jump right in. Yeah, Russia warns that a World War III, quote, would involve nuclear weapons. As you can see here, right here on the screen, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov argued against NATO involvement in Ukraine by claiming that a broader war would involve nuclear weapons from Russia. Yeah, here's some more context. Check this out.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine has heightened tensions surrounding Vladimir Putin's nuclear arsenal. Russian state media reporting Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has warned if a third world war were to take place, it would be destructive and would involve nuclear weapons. The warning comes after Lavrov accused Ukraine of trying to acquire nuclear weapons. Vladimir Putin also placing what he calls Russia's nuclear deterrence forces on, quote, heightened alert. Ukraine was once the third largest nuclear power in the world after the collapse of the Soviet Union. It doesn't have any nuclear weapons today. It surrendered them to Russia in the 90s in exchange for security protections and a guarantee it would never invade the country. Nina Tannenwald is with us now. She is a political scientist at Brown University, focusing on nuclear weapons and the laws of warfare. Nina, thank you so much for being with us. Do you think that Ukraine looks back now and regrets giving up its nuclear arms?
Thank you for inviting me. So undoubtedly, many people look at this situation and say that Ukraine should have kept its nuclear weapons, and if it had, maybe it wouldn't be in this current situation. But realistically, there was no possibility at the time for Ukraine to keep its nuclear weapons. It did not control the codes for the nuclear weapons. It could not have launched this nuclear arsenal. And it is very likely that if Ukraine had tried to hang on to the weapons that were on its soil, these were essentially controlled by Russia, but they were stationed on Ukrainian territory. If Ukraine had tried to hold on to these, Russia would probably have invaded Ukraine earlier before these weapons could have been made operational. So it's possible Ukrainian scientists would eventually have figured out the codes, but it's the sort of picture that Russia just gave up these nuclear weapons and maybe, that Ukraine just gave up these nuclear weapons and maybe it could have kept them. That's a very simplistic picture, and it's actually not true.
Yeah, thank you.
The world is probably safer that it didn't keep them.
Well, we appreciate the historical context because that makes sense. But spinning forward to today, what do you make of the latest threats coming out of Russia? How concerning are they?
They are concerning. So the likelihood that we will get into a nuclear war, that somebody will use a nuclear weapon, is remote, but it's not nothing. And raising that risk is unacceptable. So this is not the first time Putin has rattled his nuclear saber. He did so also in 2014 during Russia's invasion of Crimea then. And he likes to wave about his nuclear weapons. It's a way to remind the West that Russia is still a great power. And in this case, he wants to make it very clear that the West and NATO should not intervene to defend Ukraine. So that's a very generalized kind of threat. But nevertheless, it's completely unacceptable and inappropriate. And the world has not seen a use of nuclear weapons since 1945. And we now have a 77-year tradition of non-use of nuclear weapons. So that is the single most important legacy of the nuclear age. And so it's very important to preserve that. World leaders should make clear that Putin's nuclear threats are absolutely unacceptable.
I know you have called on former U.S. presidents to basically put out a statement to discourage the continued disuse, non-use of nuclear arms, and we hope, obviously, that that is the case, singular case scenario in this conflict. Nina Tannenwald, thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Yeah, so imagine that. Ukraine gave up the weapons back to Russia as Russia agreed that they wouldn't invade Ukraine. Imagine that. Russia lied yet again. You almost can't make this stuff up. It's just like they literally just, you can't take them at their word for absolutely anything. It's just absolutely just sickening. And it's just like, what is the punishment for this? What is the punishment for this? Well, they're being punished. I mean, their stock market's collapsing, their economy's collapsing, their dollar, the ruble's collapsing. And are they even going to come out of this a winner? Is anybody going to come out of this a winner? It doesn't like, honestly, to be honest, I don't think Putin was expecting this. I think that they were just expecting to kind of take over Ukraine like they did Crimea, and then move on to Moldova and just kind of put the USSR back together. They were expecting Ukraine to just probably surrender because big bad Russia was just going to take them over and they had no chance of winning. And now they're really in a predicament that they weren't expecting. So now they're going to threaten with nukes, and the whole world is sanctioning them and crippling them economically. But the question here is, would Vladimir Putin actually use nuclear weapons? Well, the answer is maybe. If you pushed him in the corner as you know, as far as possible, you know, what does a scared cat do when he's backed into a corner? Well, anything's possible, right? You tell me in the comments. Would he use them? Would he use them? That's a good question. That's a good question. He did order the nuclear weapons on high alert, but would he use them? That's a good question. Also, Russia, as you see here, without evidence, says that Ukraine is making a nuclear dirty bomb. Russian media yesterday cited an unnamed source. Whether or not this is even true, or this is Russia just making up a lie again as part of their agenda, on Sunday, saying that Ukraine was close to building a plutonium-based dirty bomb nuclear weapon, although the source cited no evidence. But the question is, would that matter? Is it okay for Russia to have nuclear weapons, but not Ukraine? Is it okay for Russia to use the nukes, but not Ukraine? Remember that Ukraine's just trying to defend their own land, and Russia's invading them and literally making up every known human lie possible. And meanwhile, Russia's not even supposed to be invading Ukraine because, remember, they have a treaty that Ukraine would give back the nukes that were on their land as long as Russia didn't invade. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable what the Ukrainians are having to go through here. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts on all this, and what is it going to take for Russia to stop here? Meanwhile, we have more and more states stepping up to help out the citizens here in the United States as this inflation problem is getting worse and worse, and with the price of oil and gas getting worse and worse, citizens here in the United States are going to need more help. And thankfully, we are starting to see more and more help come in various different ways. And another check was just passed here over the weekend. Here we go. As you can see here, Oregon lawmakers approve a $600 stimulus payment for low-income workers This is as much as the second stimulus check on the federal level was. Remember that $600 stimulus check? This is as much coming from the state of Oregon. And I think we're going to see a lot more states do this here this year as well, as a lot of states are flush with cash. But here are the details on this stimulus check. Oregon lawmakers just approved a $600 one-time stimulus payment to low-income workers who were on the job in the early days of the pandemic. The payment would go to Oregonians. That's such an awesome name, right? Oregonians, who claimed the Earned Income Tax Credit, also known as the Adult Tax Credits or the Low Workers Tax, Low Wage Earned Income Tax Credit. It's for low income earners in 2020. So they're going off 2020 because a lot of people haven't filed their 2021 taxes or haven't gotten them back. You know, they're not in the system yet, right? So going off 2020 is really the only way they can do this. A tax break for low-income working households, Oregon says. The Oregon Department of Revenue said about 245,000 Oregonians, let me know if I'm saying that right in the comment section, would be eligible with payments limited to one per household. House Bill 4157 passed by wide margins in both chambers of Oregon legislature, with a handful of Republicans joining majority Democrats in supporting the bill. That's what I like to see. Bipartisan support, Democrats and Republicans giving support back to their people. And honestly, we've been seeing a lot of states pass stimulus checks, rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance, and tax cuts even on the state level, which is multiple different ways, reducing the gas tax, reducing grocery tax, reducing income taxes. We're seeing that on a lot of different states. I think it was either 21 or 29 states that reduced state taxes in for last year. So we had that. We have a bunch of different states issuing state child tax credits, some states doing state adult tax credits or earned income tax credits. Those are state bonuses on the state level. So we have a lot of different states issuing money because a lot of states just have a lot of money right now. Remember, they all got a lot of money from the third stimulus check package. Each state got over $1 billion, and they're all kind of giving it out in different ways. And Oregon stepped up and said, here's how we're giving out part of our money. So it is now passed both chambers, the House and the Senate of Oregon. Remember, each state has their own House and their own Senate. And it now goes to Governor Kate Brown for signing. The State Department of Revenue would make the payments automatically for most eligible workers by the end of July. Now, whether it'll take that long or not, I don't know. I'll keep you up to date. Hopefully they'll send it out sooner. But regardless, they're going to be sending out $600 stimulus checks for somewhere around 250,000 people from Oregon. Directing the money to low-income working families, they said, would help ease the sting of rapid hikes in expenses like rent, gas, and groceries. Cash payments like this make a huge difference in the life of working families, said Senator Kathleen Taylor, a Democrat from Portland. The payments plus administrative costs are expected to amount to nearly $150 million paid from the federal pandemic aid approved by Congress last year. So yeah, directly from the third stimulus check package approved underneath Biden. So there you go, the third stimulus check package actually sending out more stimulus checks to the state of Oregon. And without that, these checks wouldn't have been made possible. And honestly, I can't really think of all the states here at this particular moment, but a lot of the other states that are going to be doing checks this year or in the works or have already kind of announced checks or doing tax cuts or teacher bonuses or all these different kind of programs, rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance, are using money from the third stimulus check package as well. So remember, that's the one that had the $1,400 stimulus checks, $1,400 stimulus checks for children, $1,400 stimulus checks for adult dependents and college students, and the child tax credits that were for a year last year. Those have now expired because they have not been able to come to an agreement yet. They might be able to come to an agreement here soon, as there are Republicans on board now, namely being led by Republican Senator Mitt Romney, who actually has a bill for a slightly larger plan for the child tax credits. That's actually $4,200 per year for children under the age of 6, 5 and under, instead of $3,600 per year. And it's still $3,000 per year for children 6 through 17. And there's some other Republicans on board with that. But it does have work requirements and possibly income limitations. So there's some negotiation going on about that. And that could be passed through a standalone bill here, potentially even this month. It's just depending on how negotiations go and everything with Russia and the new Build Back Better stimulus package, which could be renamed Made in America stimulus package or something along those lines as well. And remember, there's also $800 billion of stimulus money on the federal level as well that they could use for stimulus checks, anti-inflation checks, or just money to, combat the price of gas and inflation that's literally out of control right now. And honestly, I think we're going to see a lot of other states stepping up to do checks like this, including California. The governor there, Gavin Newsom, has basically confirmed that there will be some type of check this year. So, for example, Oregon is going to send out these checks for about 250,000 people. Remember, each state has slightly different qualification. Oregon's sending them out to low-income people that basically got the earned income tax credit, which is basically just low-income people in the state. The adult tax credit, it's also known as, it's basically just low income people in the state. You can just get that by filing a tax return and claiming $5 of income. Remember, you can just kind of do that. Remember, talk to a tax professional in your state though. But you can basically file a tax. If you don't normally file a tax return, you can file a tax return in your state and just say, I made $5 having a garage sale this year, and I'm filing a tax return with $5 of income. So you can do that, and then you can claim the adult earned income tax return potentially, and then claim that state stimulus check. But again, each state might be different, and your personal tax return might be different. Each person's situation is different. So talk to somebody. Maybe you have somebody in your family that might be able to look into your situation and know about your state stimulus check if it's happening in your state. I'm going to be telling you all about these state stimulus checks that are happening throughout the year, and state stimulus programs. There's rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance. There's electric assistance, heat assistance, and water assistance. I've just kind of covered here on recent videos. And like I was covering on just briefly in California, Oregon's sending out 250,000 people checks, just kind of based on the size of the state. California is sending out about 27 million checks they sent out last year. Just, again, the size of the state just shows how big California is. That's why it's such big news. Not that I'm favoring California or Oregon or anything like that, but when any state comes out with stimulus checks, I cover it all. Even the state of Maine, the governor has actually proposed a stimulus checks, which she calls anti-inflation stimulus checks. They were proposed at $500, and they have now increased them to $750. They were first put forward by Republicans and are now being run with by Democrats, being called anti-inflation stimulus checks. And that name is actually starting to catch on by a lot of people because of how bad inflation is. Like I said, there's a lot of states starting to either issue stimulus checks, propose stimulus checks, starting to think about stimulus checks. And I think we're going to see a lot of stimulus checks this year by states. as well as the federal government considers it, because there's just a lot of stimulus money still available, and they just need to, as my father would say, get on their horse and send it out and help the people, because inflation's crazy right now, and there's a lot of low income people and people on fixed income, people on disability that really need help right now. So let me know your thoughts. I will keep you up to date on all these programs. I'll link you to some videos you can watch next on programs that you can get that can provide you with money, government programs. And they're completely free to watch and apply for. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. I don't charge a dime to watch any of my videos or anything like that. But this way you won't miss out on new videos when your state announces these programs, or when the federal government announces any programs, or just daily news. Everything going on here with our country, I will keep you up to date with. So make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet, so you don't miss out on new videos that come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember those times and tune in at those times so you don't miss out on any videos. After subscribing, click the bell icon next to the subscribe button so you get reminders on your device when we go live. Here's the videos you can watch next. You can click this top video here to watch my newest video next. This bottom video is for utility assistance. You can get up to like $1,000 in utility assistance. This top video over here is how to apply for rent assistance, get your rent paid for up to 12 months from the last stimulus package. And this bottom video over here is how to apply for homeowners assistance. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.